Hal Jordan was just your average, devilishly handsome ladies man and hotshot test pilot who discovered a crash-landed alien ship in the desert. Okay, so maybe he's not so average.
I'll say he found this guy Abin Sur dying in a crashed spaceship who gave Hal a little green ring before kicking the bucket.
And so, by reciting an ancient oath, Hal Jordan would become a Green Lantern.
In brightest day and blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern, light!
The Green Lantern Corps is a universe-spanning law enforcement organization founded by the immortal Malthusians, also known as the Guardians of the Universe.
Hey, there's Space Oompa Loompas.
More like leprechauns.
Okay, fine, whichever mythical creature you want.
No, I mean a group of them traveled to Earth centuries ago and literally evolved into modern-day leprechauns.
I knew they were real!
Anyway, the Green Lantern Corps has patrolled the known universe for 3 billion years, recruiting members of every shape and size.
Including a living planet, a sentient smallpox virus, some guy with an exploding volcano for a head, a living math equation, and a squirrel. Man, even after all these years, Wiz, comics are weird.
Imagine what it felt like for Hal when he began training on the Guardian homeworld Oa. Over time, he grew to be one of the Corps' greatest members and defender of the universe.
Just with that ring of his, it might look tiny, but if Mjolnir, Yoda, and years of therapy have taught me anything, it isn't the size that counts, it's what you do with it.
Right. The Green Lantern Power Ring is actually one of the most impressive weapons ever made. It's most well known for its ability to create hardened light constructs that function identically to what they're inspired by. Anything from boxing gloves to machine guns to an entire solar system. While a ring's wielder must be familiar with the object they're creating, they don't necessarily need to know all the ins and outs for it to function.
The ring's energy can boost Hal's strength and speed, and also protect him with a force field. He can shoot lasers, phase through objects, turn invisible, read minds, heal wounds, and fly through space faster than light.
The only true limit to a Power Ring's utility is its user's imagination, insofar as allowing the Green Lanterns to bend the rules of the universe to their whims. They can transmute matter and energy, manipulate time, form pocket dimensions, and warp the fabric of reality.
And even though Abin Sur went out like a bitch, the ring makes a competent Green Lantern really tough to kill. It has built-in defenses to protect against mind control, and it can sometimes yank its owner out of harm's way all on its own.
It can even defend against multiversal erasure events, like when Kilowog survived the Crisis on Infinite Earths.
That's right, this guy tanked a freaking retcon to the face. Whatever's in these rings, I want it in my dune buggy stat.
That would be pure, unfiltered willpower.
Yeah, how many miles to the gallon you think that is?
Okay, well, a Green Lantern's ability stems from their own willpower. The stronger their will is, the more their ring can do.
So if willpower is green, does that make fear brown?
Yellow, actually, as dictated by the emotional electromagnetic spectrum, an energy field from which all emotion in the universe is derived.
Kinda like if the Force from Star Wars was a rainbow of feelings, and Hal's got more willpower busting out than anybody else, which makes him really damn powerful. And really damn reckless.
Green Lantern's got this.
His enormous power has led to his possession by Parallax, an entity of fear, and caused entire planets to fall. But it's been said that knowing true fear made Hal's will even stronger than before.
Like when he went up against this blue dickweed Krona, who took control of all these space animal gods that embodied the different rainbow spectrum emotions.
Including Ion, the green basking shark of willpower. Yes, I know. Hal was able to overturn Krona's plan, which meant overpowering the literal embodiment of all willpower in the universe with his own willpower.
That sounds, impressive?
Impossible?
Impressible? Hal's been knocked through a planet, blasted by a supernova, and punched by the reality-shattering Superboy Prime.
He was fast enough to fly to Earth from a planet at the edge of the universe. And factoring how DC's observable universe is at least 100 trillion light-years in diameter, Hal must have been flying well over 1.5 quintillion times the speed of light. And without the ring, Hal once had to pilot a ship traveling over light speed manually. As in, there were planets and stars in his way, and Hal had to steer.
And since he can match the god of willpower, he can pull off crazy will feats that other Green Lanterns have done, like when Kyle Rayner held back a Big Bang.
But to be fair, the Power Ring is not perfect. It does carry a finite charge, and should he expend too much energy too quickly, he'll need his power battery to refuel.
Also, if his opponent can ruin his willpower or even just his belief in himself, Hal won't be able to use the ring, which is lame.
Yeah, these powers are pretty complex. Batman once had a plan to trick Kyle into thinking he was blind, and because he believed he was, the ring reacted to his thoughts and actually made him blind.
But Hal's too badass to let a little sadness take him out for good. Hell, he's got the cojones to arrest God. But Wiz, I gotta address the yellow elephant in the room. Why the hell are Green Lanterns weak to yellow?
Ages ago, yes, the Green Lanterns couldn't affect anything yellow because Parallax had messed with their power source, but that is no longer the case, so Hal isn't held back by colors. And really, that's not even the worst weakness a Green Lantern ever had.
Oh yeah, way back in the day, a Green Lantern went rogue and tried to take over a planet of people with crude wooden weapons. And so as a great little FU, the gods decided to make him weak to wood right before the blows started landing. Ah, good thing it's not a problem for Hal. Whether it be brightest day or blackest night, all should respect the emerald light of the Green Lantern. Or he'll willpower you to death, apparently.
Give up? Please say no.
You'll never catch me, Lantern.
Bang.
The universe is a dangerous place. Should you find yourself face to face with an interdimensional vampire, alien dictators, or this one really pissed off cat, you know who to call.
The Green Lantern Corps! They're the Space Fuzz, an intergalactic police force founded billions of years ago by blue leprechaun gods.
And the greatest Green Lantern among them was everyone's favorite, Hal Jordan.
You know him, you love him, you might hate him, but you gotta respect the man with a will as unbreakable as Hal's.
Until the day his will broke.
After his hometown got completely obliterated, Hal lost his mind. He rampaged through the Corps, killing everyone in his path, and absorbed the central power battery, the literal Green Lantern.
Becoming the Emerald Tyrant, Parallax.
There was only one survivor of Parallax's killing spree, Ganthet. And with what remained of his strength, he gave the last Green Lantern ring in the universe to a human, Kyle Rayner.
So, was Kyle picked for his indomitable willpower like Hal was?
He was just there. He had no idea what was going on. Must feel good being given the most dangerous magical weapon in existence to figure out on your own. Hey, if Colonel Sanders, Daffy Duck, Space Wheat, and a sentient box can master it, what's your excuse, Kyle?
The Green Lantern ring can do anything, fulfilling any wish its user desires as though it were a genie from a lamp.
It lets you fire energy blasts, create force fields, affect gravity, turn invisible and intangible, manipulate matter, time travel, warp reality, and erase things from existence.
Think we're exaggerating? Well, consider the time Kyle stretched the very fabric of space to increase the Planck length a billion times over. That's like stretching an inch into a light year.
Lanterns control time and space, letting them fly so fast they can create a Speed Force singularity.
Tapping into the Speed Force requires entering a higher dimension of space, requiring speeds that are not only faster than light, but totally immeasurable. And the rings have an artificial intelligence that operates just as fast, automatically protecting its user from danger.
Like the time that Boozer Kilowog survived being erased from existence by the Crisis on Infinite Earths.
The ring is fueled by its user's willpower and limited only by their imagination.
While Hal may have had the greatest willpower in the Corps, Kyle's imagination is unmatched, probably because he's a comic book artist. And we know from this show, they think of some wild shit.
But the Green Lantern's most recognizable ability is their constructs, Kyle's speciality.
Samurai armor, pirate ships, giant dragons, actual working home computers, and his favorite, super fighting robots. Hey, that one looks familiar.
Kyle can make them strong enough to lift the Spectre, who weighs as much as eternity.
Or hold back a 12.3 dimensional Big Bang. Wait, 0.3? DC's multiverse has 12.3 dimensions? That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
The ring's only downside is that it's limited to 24 hours before needing a recharge.
So it can blow up universes, but it has the battery of an iPhone. Never mind, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Although I'd say Kyle's biggest weakness was Kyle. With great power came no responsibility.
Perhaps a manifestation of Kyle's self-doubt. Any reflection came too late, though, when one of Kyle's villains brutally murdered his girlfriend, Alex, and put her body in a fridge.
Kyle wasn't the only one traumatized. This moment was so infamous, it started the trope called fridging.
For how female characters are often sacrificed as mere plot devices to further a male character's development.
So it might surprise you that it happened to Kyle again.
Kyle finally got serious. He became a prominent member of the Justice League, faced off against Hal, and even rebuilt the Green Lantern Corps better than ever.
But little did he know, this torchbearer's greatest journey had only just begun.
In order to save Ganthet from an emotional lobotomy, it's a long story, he had to master all the colors of the emotional electromagnetic spectrum.
There are 7 colors, each representing a different emotion. The yellow light of fear lets Kyle manipulate the worst horrors in your mind. The more scared you are of him, the stronger he becomes.
Orange light is fueled by bottomless avarice, possessing Kyle to absorb not merely his enemies' attacks, but also their souls.
Red is rage, ripping out Kyle's heart and replacing his blood with napalm, which sounds like it sucks, but it's metal as hell.
Blue light is powered by hope and allows Kyle to heal wounds, resist mental domination, and supercharge his ring.
Indigo is compassion, reducing his opponent's will to fight and letting him open portals across space, connecting him to others.
The final one was the sapphire light of love. With it, he can trap enemies within crystal matrices and control their minds. But Kyle only mastered it by forgiving himself for Alex's tragic death.
Oh, self-love. I get it. Must be nice. And with their powers combined, he doesn't just make his enemies taste the rainbow.
The lights of the spectrum merged, and Kyle became a White Lantern, with total control over the power of life.
Wiz, I cannot think of an attack more useless in a death battle than something that makes you live.
Empowered by the physical embodiment of all life in the DC multiverse, Kyle is vastly more powerful than any other Lantern in existence.
Far stronger than Hal, who could harness the energy of every power battery across the multiverse.
Not only can Kyle instantly heal all wounds, purify corruption, and resurrect the dead, the white light of life is strong enough to go up against threats to all of creation, like the Anti-Monitor.
Okay, so it's not totally useless.
Especially after Kyle visited the Source and acquired the Life Equation. Essentially the source code to reality, the Life Equation is mathematical proof that life is worth living.
With it, Kyle can alter all of reality at a whim, even threatening the new gods like Darkseid.
The Life Equation, like its counterpart, the Anti-Life Equation, is a conceptual artifact from a higher reality, originating in a platonic realm that is, in a sense, more real than we are.
So it's not a shock that the equation made Kyle too powerful.
He struggled to control it, and it subconsciously manifested a being composed of his fears and anxieties. Oblivion. Kyle's greatest weakness was still himself.
Kyle spent his whole life struggling with the power that the gods granted him, and throughout it all, he always rose to the occasion, carrying the universe on his back.
But ultimately, the only way to stop power from corrupting is to spread it. So Kyle split the Life Equation into pieces to found his second core, the White Lanterns. And together, they shattered Oblivion, destroying the self-doubt that plagued Kyle once and for all.
Not bad for a comic book geek from LA.
And now he was the one giving out rings of unlimited power to people who weren't sure if they could command it.
So he told them the truth. You can't teach someone how to use such power. You have to learn yourself, making mistakes along the way.
But with the power of life at their command, there's no end to their journey, only endless beginnings.